Infinite creators, I have some things I want to share with you today that I go pretty deep and might hit more than a few of you in the feels, because I'm speaking directly to you, those of you out there who recognize themselves as being conscious creators and a visionary innovator. You don't see where things are at. You see where things are going. That's what I do. And my best work that I do with clients is people who are in that space. They're not reacting to circumstances. They are not trying to cope with what's going on. They are aware of misalignments in their self-identity and with what kind of life they want to be living and what kind of fulfillment they want to receive in their life's work. And they're aware of ways of how to line those up again. That's the work that I do. And the ones who benefit the most from working with me are those who recognize themselves as being the ones who don't respond to circumstances. You don't look where the ball is at. You look where the ball is going on the court, okay? But the ones that I work with who just absolutely expand and begin to explore their lives in different ways, and they flow in life in a different, more seamless way. And maybe you'll find this is true for you too. They're driven by a deep desire to align their life and life's work with their identity. In other words, I've been doing what I've been doing for over 25 years. Over the last year, my work has changed and become so fine-tuned and so refined in so many ways that I dropped most of what I was sharing. And I have a 2-day masterclass that I did on Zoom a little while ago, and I'm going to put it up here on YouTube, and I'll tag it up in this video so you can check it out for free. But I talk about that. I talk about that, if you want to call it an inner transformation, that those words seem dull in comparison to what really happened with my work, because I've dropped about 85% of what I used to teach. And, you know, I've been a metaphysical mentor, a spiritual teacher, a course creator, a speaker, energy healer for 25 years. And most of what I shared in that time, I dropped it in this last year. And I go into that and why and how that translates into the work that I do now in this, in day 2 of Living Resonance as the Quantum You. I'll tag it up below or up above. So you might be experiencing what I see happening with a lot of my clients right now. And people who are coming to me for my help are experiencing this. So potential clients, they're realizing this mismatch. They're feeling out of sync with the current flow of their lives and their life's work. They're experiencing a form of disconnect between their internal desires and their external actions. I just can't seem to make the two match up, really. But the way they live their lives, their lifestyle, if you want to call it that, includes a very strong inclination towards personal development, self-exploration, the pursuit of spiritual or philosophical truths. And these are very important for these individuals. And with all of that, and with all the great work that they've done, because usually by the time people come to me, they've either gone through, you know, working with a bunch of gurus and mentors and felt frustrated by a lot of metaphysical half-truths and incomplete spiritual teachings that are woefully misunderstood. And they find themselves in a period of significant frustration and even stagnation. And this often is the perfect storm for them to be questioning the authenticity of their current reality. Now, their current reality is fine. I want to illuminate that here. So the misalignment is happening elsewhere. So maybe you're feeling this too, this kind of urgency and a pain from a sense of misalignment between how you're identifying yourself, how you're defining your life, and how you want to be living it, and then the life you're actually living. Like, it's just a disconnect. And it manifests itself as, you know, a lack of fulfillment. It just feels like no matter what you're doing in your life and life's work, it's not satisfying. You have creativity blocks. You feel an overwhelming sense that you're not living up to your potential, that there's so much more available to you. Every single person who has ever come to work with me feels that way. That there is excess potential that could be fulfilling and satisfying in their lives that's currently being funneled into something that is not satisfying, that is not preferable in their lives. And that excess potential is the misalignment. So this keeps them awake at night. They crave a sense of belonging and intimacy within their own lives. A lot of the people who come to work with me, they recognize themselves as visionaries. They're conscious creators. They don't feel they often belong in a lot of other places. But the problem is, and that's okay, because I've felt that way for most of my life, but I need to belong in my own life. I need to feel like my life belongs to me. So do you. And so they're lacking this intimacy with their own lives. And when that kind of confusion and frustration sets in, what we do as humans, we start to reach and grasp and clutch at techniques and fixes, and we think we need another marketing program, or, you know, we need a sales guru, or we need a funnel, or we need a manifesting formula. And these are all performative efforts. They actually don't do anything. And at the end of the day, if the energy of who you are being doesn't align with what you are doing with all of these performative efforts, it's going to feel false, it's going to feel forced, and bottom line, it's not going to work to help deliver you into the life you not only feel you deserve, but want to belong to. And you want that life, you want to belong to it, you want to belong to your work. You're here to do something in the world that is very authentic to you, not performative. Because when you're authentic in your true identity, you are following your true north, your North Star, and that identity is so rock solid, and you feel confident and secure in that and safe, then you don't need to be performing anything. And so what I see a lot with people who are, you know, going through another inner revolution, or people who are coming to me for my help, I'm seeing this frustration, this mismatch, this misalignment. Because they know they could be living a life where they feel it belongs to them and they belong to it. It's paired with joy and freedom. They get to express their life's work authentically without performative efforts. And they're realizing and living their full potential while contributing authentically to the world, delivering gifts from their authentic, full frequency vibration. So here's, this is not the cause of the mismatch, because in my world, people who come to work with me, we understand something right away. There is no such thing as cause and effect. Because in the oneness model of the universe, which is the vantage point I happen to share my lived-in wisdom from, cause and effect is a psychological construct. It is not organic to nature. It is what we use to play with time, and time isn't even real. And in the oneness model of the universe, everything is here, everything is now, everything is one, and you are that. You will always be that. You have never not been that. So there is no cause and effect. This becomes much clearer when we work in Liberate Conscious Creation Codex together, which is my premium program. It's my signature program. It is the work I was born to deliver. And we start again on January 7th, 2026. But this, what I'm going to explain right here, is not the cause of this misalignment and mismatch. But it is something that I offer up to your awareness so that you can glean more of what the inner misalignment might be across all bodies of your consciousness, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual / universal. So the world feels pretty brutal right now. And you're feeling Because if you're here, if you're still listening, I know you're a conscious creator, and I know that you're a visionary. Maybe you don't know what that looks like fully fleshed out. That's okay. That's irrelevant. But you know that there's some potential that lives in you through what you do, through the gifts, the skill set you want to offer to the world in service of its evolution. You know that you're here for a reason. And you're feeling a call to rise up. You're feeling a call to expand. You're feeling a call to evolve into whatever that next level is, where you get to deliver the goods to the world and feel fulfilled and satisfied and loving every second of it. Yes, that's entirely possible. But at the same time, a lot of us conscious creators, visionary innovators, we are looking at the world and we're saying, whew, it is brutal out there right now. And there's days where I might feel an impulse to want to just retreat, to shrink, to just fall back and hide under the covers for a while. But there's a part of you that's like, yeah, you're not here to cope with what's happening. You're not here to react to what's happening. You are here to rise above it and help others do the same. So the mismatch is you're seeing this brutality in the world right now. You're seeing this chaos, mayhem, people acting the fool, incredible divisiveness. But underneath all of that, you're feeling the impulse to care more, not less. So while your human self, the small ego self, wants to hide away, get under the covers, wake me up January 15th or somewhere around then, the changeless self, the you that is the oneness, is tapping you on the shoulder saying, that's not why you're here. And you feel this heartbreak. I feel it too. But how you recognize heartbreak, how you might look at challenges, how you might look at these issues, this divisiveness in the world, and how you respond to it has everything to do with which vantage point you're choosing to take your next steps from. The small ego self who wants to hide under the sheets till January 15th, or the you that has this deeper evolutionary impulse to expand and help others do the same. There's a part of you that knows it is the changeless self. It is the one that exists as one. The self with a capital S. That knows the more your human is witnessing this divisiveness in the world, and the more divisive the world becomes, the more your visionary heart, your deeply compassionate, kind, and caring heart cracks open. That's the part of you that you're being beckoned from. You're being invited to listen to. So you're feeling this surge, you're feeling this call to rise into a fuller frequency, despite the conditions and circumstances in the world. You are not here to react to situations, conditions, and circumstances. They are just the mirror. And if you're seeing a lot of conflict outwardly, that's all you pushed outward. You're experiencing that conflict and inner disharmony in the architecture of your inner world. And this is exactly why the program that I teach, Liberate Conscious Creation Codex, is where we recalibrate that into the identity that can actually hold that devotion you are here to carry, that devotion and dedication and commitment that you are here to move from. And not just in some conceptual way, to turn it into tangible, real world, everyday reality in the face of all the grittiness, despite all the grittiness. And you not living up to that soul blueprint is costing you. And that's why you feel frustration. And that is why you feel stagnation. And you might feel, well, I'm an empath and I'm too sensitive. Darling, we are all empaths. We are all sensitive. Some of us are really good at turning it off. Some of us are really good at turning it up. But wherever you're feeling like I'm too sensitive, so sensitive I can't handle this world and I want to retreat, That is how you know exactly you're being initiated. You're being initiated. That feeling, that frustration, that gap between I'm over here and I want to get over there, and I'm in this liminal space seemingly of stagnation in between, this inner turmoil, that is an initiation call from the soul, from the you that exists as one, from the changeless self that knows that you exist beyond all of this that's happening in this giant dream of 3D reality. You exist beyond that. You are beyond that. You hold powers that the mind cannot comprehend. So here you are, witnessing the world spiraling into division and numbness. The world feels really harsh right now. It feels a little colder. It's a little louder, yelling, shouting, more chaotic than maybe you've noticed it being in a very long time. Maybe more chaotic than it's ever been, according to you. But if you're a visionary, if you know that you're not here to survive inside this consciousness, you are here not to rise above your humanity. I'm not talking about bypassing your humanity. I'm talking about expanding your energy from the oneness, from the changeless self, so much that it saturates your human into the bones, down to the cellular level. The human was used to having that saturation look like or feel like fear. But what you're really in anticipation of, if you're a visionary, if you're here to share your gifts with the world, what you're really anticipating is a surge of devotion. Maybe these words are helping with that. And that happens because you find yourself carrying more, not less. That's not weakness. That vulnerability, that disharmony you feel, that frustration you feel, that stagnation you feel, that, constant wishing and hoping, like, I just want humans to do better. I want humans to do better for each other. I want them to do better for animals. I want them to do better for the plants and the planet. That's your evolution cracking through. Do not ignore that. Do not retreat from that. Like, we're really being invited to go all in. And I got something to tell you, and I suspect greatly from my vantage point that if you don't do it in this lifetime, you're just going to be called back to do it again in the next one. You're being initiated. The brutality you're sensing it's the signal that your heart is expanding beyond its old limit. That's why it hurts so much, because you're growing, because you're expanding. And it hurts because that old you, that old identity, that old version of you can't hold that frequency anymore. That's why it's so painful. That's why it hurts so much. But you'll also notice that, there's the part of you that your heart is refusing to close. You might feel like you are mirroring some of this brutality in the mirror of reality back to yourself. And you're angry with yourself. Maybe you're frustrated with yourself. Maybe you're blaming yourself. Maybe you're doing a life review. Here we are at the end of 2025, and you're saying, I should have done this different. That is all you taking the conditions and the circumstances of the mirror, which is just only mirroring back your inner confusion anyway. You're letting it mirror back to the self, and you're turning it on yourself. That's the ultimate self-abandonment 101. Meanwhile, your soul is saying, we are not here to play small. We are not here to close off. We're here to care more. Because that's the stepping stone to the next identity. That's the stepping stone to a fuller recognition and embodiment of the frequency we're here to hold. That's the real work. This is not burnout. It's breakthrough. You didn't come here to survive this world. You came here to help evolve it. You just forgot, and it's okay. I forget too. And then I feel that pull again. I feel that rising ache to call myself up into that version who can actually hold that devotion, who can turn it into impact, who can live from oneness instead of fear and let the love saturate my entire being instead of the fear. I remember I'm here to constantly recalibrate my identity to carry the frequency, that full frequency of me. You are too. You're here to step into the self you came here to be, not retreat from her or him. So Conscious Creator, this is what we do in Liberate Conscious Creation Codex. We're starting up again on January 7th, 2026. This is absolutely devotional. This is something you devote yourself to because embodied alignment is where your entire nervous system finally relaxes into the truth. And you live guided by your North Star, and you do so unflinchingly. You do so feeling completely safe in doing that. Everything in your life matches this full frequency, where the changeless self is the one driving the bus, not the fearful self. And that changeless self is constantly informing the human. It's like a kind of descension. Everybody's out here talking about ascension. I used to as well. But what the human reckoning and the human awakening is really all about, becoming enlightened, what that's all about, is about the changeless self descending into and saturating our human awareness so that we can hold compassion without collapsing, so that we can hold kindness and tenderness and love without saying, I have a dysregulated nervous system. Your nervous system is not dysregulated. It's learned to perform for fear, not for love. So that is begging to be recalibrated, because the changeless self doesn't run on force. It doesn't run on fear. It doesn't run on performance. It runs on compassion. It runs on love. It runs on oneness. There's no other way to offer your gifts without draining yourself dry. So if you're feeling this impulse, dear, darling, creator, friend, if you're feeling yourself softening when the world hardens, you still notice that doors are opening when everyone else says the doors are closing. You're still caring like you can't help yourself. That's your new identity calling you forward. That's the next calibration saying, we're ready. Are you? That's what Liberate Conscious Creation Codex is for. So yes, it's deep into identity recalibration. That's required if you want to live from oneness consciousness and reap all of the benefits so that they flow in a seamless grace of synchronicity throughout all aspects of your life, throughout all bodies of consciousness that you call you. And your devotion at that level is fuel. You will never gas out because you're running on love, not on fear. Fear has a finite energy field to it. You can only go so far with fear. Love, it's the primary creational force. It doesn't run out. It is the energy underneath, behind the driving force for every single thing. What other force in the universe could create such a spectrum of experience where we have it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly, other than love, and hold it in a place of neutrality and impartiality? Love. So when you learn to run your life's work from that, your sensitivity becomes your power. Your truth becomes embodiment. Your life's work is a seamless expression of you in your full frequency. It's not a performance. You'll never need a technique or a product bought from FOMO or fear of you're not enough or feeling unsafe ever again. One last piece here. Beautiful, dear, darling, creator, friend, visionary, innovator, you are not here to toughen up for a broken world. You're not here to suck it up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You are not here to toughen up. You're here to become the one who helps heal it. because you recognize I'm healed. And all healing is really remembering who you were before the fear. And once you know who you were before the fear, everything just kind of drops into place, like those puzzle pieces that in that 1,000-piece puzzle set, and you swear you dropped some pieces or the cat swiped them underneath the couch. You find those pieces. They link right up again. Everything makes sense, but not on a logical, analytical level, but on a deep feeling level, from a soul deep level. We're like, ah, oh, this is the full frequency I've been waiting for. It was always here. I just didn't know how to turn my attention and awareness to it. Well, that's what we do inside Liberate program. So, you know, even if you don't join us in that program, leave me a like. Let me know that this spoke to you today. I really want to know. Let me know what piece resonated here. You know, I want to know. And if you feel that this content is speaking directly to you, my content going into and the things that I want to share from a soul deep level going into 2026 is going to be geared exclusively towards conscious creators and visionary innovators. You know, those who know that they're not here to survive the world, they're here to help evolve it. And without draining themselves dry or prostrating themselves in this process of doing that. So leave a like, comment, subscribe to this channel. It would really help me out, so that for conscious creators like yourself, it tells the algorithm that you value this, and it will push this content out to other conscious creators like yourself. So thanks for listening. The description and all the info you need for Liberate Conscious Creation Codex is in the description. And I hope you'll check out those 2 days, Living Resonances, the Quantum You. This is the perfect energetic foundational reset for going into 2026. And so I hope you'll check that out. Lots of love. Bye for now.